Hello all, welcome to the 8th webinar about RhinoGold 5. This is Xavier Rofes, Sales and Marketing Manager of RhinoGold, and next to me I have my workmate Pedro Loureiro, CAD Trainer and Tech Support Manager. Pedro, good afternoon. How do you feel today?
Hello, Xavi. Hello, everyone. I feel very well, ready for another webinar, and I hope everyone enjoy this one. So be welcome.
Pedro, may you give us a brief about yesterday's presentation in London at the Goldsmith Center?
Yes, of course, it was very good. Several people attending. The presentation was uh, mainly regarding the new tools, the new functions in RhinoGold 5, and the feedback was really good. Of course, it's always a pleasure to visit the Goldsmith Center and to visit our partner in UK, Simply Rhino. So very good.
Surely, it was great. Okay, let's start the webinar then. As always, we are TVM Solutions from Barcelona in Spain. Since 2001, we are offering CAD/CAM solutions for several industries, and since 2007, we start focusing in jewelry with RhinoGold, and today we are in version 5. For those who are new in the webinar, we are showing RhinoGold 5. Basically to show the possibilities that RhinoGold offers for you, so you can apply this 3D knowledge to your daily work. The idea, as you know, of RhinoGold is to make your life easier when we are talking about designing jewelry. So let's move forward in the presentation. Let's see what we are going to see today. Okay, this is the webinar we're going to design today. This is a sweet and refreshing pendant. The main tools of today's webinar are the automatic pave, the Revolve tool from Rhino, copied by Gems, the flow by Curve, the Kibosh, the pipe, cutter prong studios, of course the rendering, and we will see a few other tools today. As always, use the chat to ask any question. Today it's just me and Pedro. Somehow the workmates had other plans today. I don't know why, but maybe it's coincidence that today Barcelona football team is playing an important game. So I guess they are busy in other issues. But anyway, let's go, Barca.
Good luck. Good
Pedro,
luck.
yeah, Pedro. Before we start watching the game, let's design some jewelry in RhinoGold, okay?
Very good idea. Very good idea. That's why we are here. So let me open a RhinoGold interface, and let's start designing this raspberry pendant. So the idea in this first step, I'm going to define the shape of my pendant, and to do it, probably the top view. As you can see, I can easily define the top view, and I'm going to define a curve with the Smart Curve tool. So the idea is to define a curve. Of course, I will use the grid as reference for my measure. So the idea is more or less 2.5, 3 centimeters. So I'm going to start with the grid snap option activated, and I'm going to define half of the curve to then create my surface with the Revolve tool. So the first step, I'm going to pick the first point from the curve here in this axis to be exactly in the middle, and then maybe undo, and I can start a little bit more in here, and my reference is the grid, so I know each square, if I zoom in, each of these squares is 1 millimeter. So the idea now, I remove the grid snap and I can define my curve exactly how I need. Of course, I will adjust my curve if needed. So if it's not exactly how I need, I can easily adjust. And once again, in the last point of the curve, I'm going to use the grid snap again to define the last point to make sure it's exactly in the middle. So after the last point, I just press enter to add the curve to the document. And as you can see, the curve is not very smooth, it's not exactly what I'm looking for, but easily I select the curve and I will use the tool edit point. So when I edit points, all the points are available to edit. I can start, for instance, with these two, maybe like this. Let me remove the grid snap, and I'm using the gimbal just to move them, to adjust the position. The same for here. This one I will do the same. So as you can see, I can make the curve exactly how I need. Maybe this one, something like this. And probably I have this point I don't need. I can easily delete, and I will use this one to adjust the position exactly how I want. So this is the idea, to adjust the curve. Make sure you are following the measures defined. So in this case, I have more or less 3 centimeters, maybe a little bit more in this part. I can move down, and here we go. I believe now it's much better. We have also, after to go out of the edition, I just need to press escape from the keyboard. And also we have this fair tool. As you can see, this tool allows us to smooth the curve even more. So if I select fair curve, I just need to define the curves to fair. So I select, in this case, this curve, enter, and of course the tolerance, the distance between the original curve and the curve I'm going to define now. So I press enter, and automatically it will smooth a little bit my curve. Of course, this is just to adjust the parameters how I want. I can edit any moment, and even after creating my surface, I can edit as well. So for now, I will keep this curve like this. I'm editing a little bit more the points. But now the next step, I'm going to the perspective, and under the modeling tab, I'm going to use the Revolve tool. So the idea, when I click on Revolve, I need to select the curves to revolve. In this case, this curve. I press enter. As you can see, you can follow the instructions in the command line. And now I need to define a point to define the start of revolve axis. So I'm sure it's in this axis, so I can use the grid snap and start in here. And then I need to define another point to the end of the revolve axis. So I will define this point anywhere on this axis in here. So as you can see, now I can define the revolve angle. In this case, I want half circle. So I will define, if you press Shift K from the keyboard, you will activate the ortho. So if I click on this point, I'm sure I start in here and I end in here. So as you can see, let me change the display mode so we can see the curve we are creating, in this case the surface. And now if I need to edit my surface, for instance, if I think this is too big, I can easily adjust the surface. And to do it, I'm going to use the edit tool, the cache edit. So under the transform tab, we have the edit tool, and of course we need to select the objects to edit. So I'm going to select the surface, I press enter, and now I want to use a bounding box to edit my object. So in this bounding box, I can define for each axis the number of control points. So for instance, in Z I can use 2 control points and 4 control points for X and Y. So I just press enter, I have my box, my bounding box, and I press enter again, and I have my control points exactly as I define it. So in the right view, as you can see, I have in this case 15 millimeters. 8 probably is too much. I can select all my control points, as you can see, and with these control points I can use the gumball to move down. Let me just remove the grid snap, and I can move down my surface to adjust exactly the 8 as I need. So let me go back to the perspective to see the results. As you can see, this is more or less the shape I'm looking for. Of course, as I told before, we can use, for instance, if I select, I just drag a window, these control points, and if I use the gumball to adjust a little bit the shape in here, as you can see easily, I can adjust my surface exactly as I need. So this is the idea. We adjust the surface as needed. Probably, let me go back to the right view. Probably in here I can adjust this part, move down a little bit more, like this. So I believe now the shape is the shape I'm looking for, and I press escape from the keyboard to remove the control points, and I can delete my bounding box. So I have my surface. Let me see, this is the curve I've used it to create the surface. I can change the layer here in the side panel. In the layer tab, I can add a new layer and call him curves, and right click, and I will say change object layer. So I change object layer, and I can turn off this layer. So at this moment I have my surface, and I'm going to define the thickness. So to define the thickness, I can easily, this is a surface without any thickness, I can use under the modeling tab the offset surface tool. So I click on offset, and as you can see, I have the direction from the offset. I can flip. So by default it's to the inside direction. I can flip to the outside. So in this case I'm going to keep inside, and I will define the distance. So the offset distance is 1.2 millimeters. I will keep, it's the distance I want to use, and I have also the option solid yes. So I just press enter, and as you can see, I generate the thickness to my surface. So at this point I have a poly surface, and this is my solid where I'm going to start defining my object. Before starting applying the gems and everything, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define the leaves. So to define the leaves, I believe probably in the top view, let me change display mode. In the top view, if I define one in the top view, then I can flow this along a curve. For instance, that's the workflow I'm going to use. So it will be easier if I define my leaf in this top view. To do it, I'm going to the drawing tab, and once again with the smart curve tool, I can define the shape of my leaf. Of course, in this case, it's useful to use the option symmetry. I can activate in the command line. Symmetry, I'm going to use vertical symmetry, and close it on. So close it curve on, and I will start defining my shape. as you can see with the symmetry, it's easier. Something like this looks good. Of course, if I need to edit as well as the previous curve, I just select the curve and edit points on. In this case, I want to keep the symmetry, so I select both points from both sides, and I can adjust with the scale in this direction. So this is the idea. The shape I'm looking for. Okay, I press escape to remove the control points, and I'm going to define just another curve, in this case with the line tool, a straight curve from, I will activate the grid snap, just to make sure I start in here and I will end the curve in here. So this will be my reference curve. So then, back to the perspective, I'm going to, I can move this up a little bit more, and I can extrude this to create a solid from this curve. So modeling tab, extrude tool, and I define the thickness I want to apply to my leaf. So I will define 1 millimeter. So as I have the grid snap activated, I'm sure if 1 is 1 millimeter, so I just click and 1 millimeter is perfect. Then before creating the target curve I will use to flow my leaf, probably it's good to use under the transform tab the dynamic bend tool. So I can bend a little bit my leaf, so I just select objects to bend in this side panel, and I will choose the leaf. I press enter, and as you can see I have these gumballs, which one I'm going to bend in this direction. So easily, as you can see, I can bend my leaf maybe a little bit more, and this is the result. This is the idea. Okay. So so now I believe now it's okay. I can bend a little bit more, but this is the idea, just to bend a little bit and click OK to add the changes. Remember, if you have any question, please use the chat. Now the next step, I'm going to the right view. So I define right view, maybe with the wireframe it's better, and I'm going to create a curve to use as reference. So the curve I'm going to flow my leaf shape. To do it, I'm going to use once again under the drawing tab, the smart curve tool. So the idea is I start my curve here in the middle, and then I can make my shape exactly as I need. Remember, probably in here is getting inside, so I will undo to make the first point. I will remove the grid snap. To be easier, I can make my leaf, this curve will be outside from my shape, so I will make my leaf more or less until here. So I can define one more point and maybe another one. A little bit distance between the curve and the surface. And once again, if you want to smooth a little bit more this curve, I can use the Fair tool and define the tolerance. Okay, looks good. Remember, this is very, when I was modeling this object in the first time, it's something that you will see that probably we need to adjust some curves, some points to edit, and we are modeling, and we can any moment change it to adjust to fit exactly the shape we are looking for. So now I'm going to hide this outside curve. I don't need it anymore, so right click on curves layer and choose the option change object layer. So as the layers is turned off, the curve will be turned off as well. So now I have one curve in the bottom my shape, of my leaf shape, and another curve in here. So I will use these curves as reference to flow my object. So let me go to the Transform tab, and under the Dynamic Flow by Curve, I have the normal Flow by Curve. So Dynamic Flow by Curve is for those cases where we want to flow an object, but other objects we want just to move the position instead of changing the geometry. So in this case, I will use the option Flow by Curve. So when I click on this tool, I need to select the objects to flow. So the object in this case is my leaf shape. I press enter, and then I need to define my base curve. So the base curve will be the one under my object, the curve I use as reference. And then, as you can see in the command line, I need to select the target curve, so the curve where I want to apply my leaf shape. In this case, this one. So as you can see, it has been applied successfully, but was not the direction I want to apply. So to fix this problem, in this case to reverse the direction, we need to adjust the curve direction. To do it, I'm going to undo this last step, and before I'm going to confirm the direction of my curve. So to do it, under the Analyze tab, we have this option, this tool, Direction. So I can select Direction, and in this case I define this curve. When I press enter, you see that this curve, I start from here and I go to here. So this is the direction. And then the other curve, I will do exactly the same. So let me select my curve, and I will select direction. So instead of the direction be from here to here, I will flip. As you can see in the command line, I flip, and now the direction will be from here to here. So I press enter, and now let's use again the flow. So Transform tab, Flow by Curve tool, and Objects to Flow, and then Base Curve, in this case the curve, this one, and then the target curve, which will be this one. So this is the idea. Mainly, I changed the direction, but the object, as the reference is not a surface, is a curve. Probably it will be easier. I will delete this step and probably, or undo, and probably will be easier if I bend in other direction, or if I, for instance, if I move the curve, instead of being the bottom, I could move the object as well. So I will move the curve to the top of my shape. So let me use the gumball to move. Remember, the distance between the curve and the object will be the same when we apply. So try to make the closest position possible. If it's inside the object, the other curve will be inside as well. And let's repeat again this step. So once again, in this case, the Flow by Curve tool, I select the object, and I select then the curve and the other curve. So actually, I believe now probably the result it's better. It's not inside of the other solid, and I'm going to let me hide, for instance, middle mouse button. I select the curves, and I can change to this layer, and I can add another layer, and I can hide as well the original leaf shape. So now I have one in the middle, and I'm going to the probably the easiest view is the front view, and I can rotate my leaf shape. So I'm going to the Rotate tool under the Transform tab, and I can rotate. So grid snap, turn it on to make sure I'm using this point, also this one, and I can rotate my leaf shape a little bit. I see that probably it's too large. What I can do instead of editing, it's just with the gumball I can adjust a little bit less, something like this. Scale one direction. Remember the points from the gumball, it's scale one direction, and I can adjust. And once again with the rotate, I will select the point, so the reference point for the rotation, and then I can rotate a little bit here. Remember, then probably I will move something like this. Let me just undo and disable the grid snap. So somehow around here, let me see in the perspective, and the other, once again under the transform tab, I can select again, and now when I select rotate, I will define the option copy yes. So in the command line, make sure we are rotating, but with the copy option activated. So now when I rotate from here to here, of course in this case I will need then to adjust, because as you can see it's getting inside from the shape, but I can adjust the position, the rotate. Remember, this is something that we can any moment adjust. And what I'm going to do now is to adjust. We can use the top view, we can use the gimbal in the perspective. The idea is to adjust the position exactly as we want. So maybe this position, let me go back to the perspective, looks good. Of course, then I will create a symmetry to the other side. So the idea is, let me just check if the symmetry goes well. Then I will apply the symmetry after apply the gems. So when I apply the symmetry, this will be what it's look like. So it's what I'm looking for. So now the next step, what I'm going to do is in the right view, I'm going to define the bail for the pendant. What I'm going to do is just to define a curve, and to define the curve, once again, I'm going to use the smart curve. I like very much the smart curve. It allows us some options, very useful. So I start my curve in this point, and now I remove the grid snap, and I will define the shape exactly as I need. So I'm going to make something like this. Okay, as you can see, it's exactly in the same position. So what I'm going to do now, it's first to smooth a little bit the curve with a fair tool. So I smooth, and now with the edit points I can adjust. For instance, I can start in here to move with the gimbal these points a little bit to the left side, so something like this. Also this one a little bit. Okay, so as you can see now I'm removing from one to the other, so these ones I can start to move in the opposite direction. So the idea is to don't be in the same C-plane, and then I will apply a pipe on this curve. Of course, if I want to make it the distance even bigger, I can easily adjust the distance. Something like this looks good. As you can see, I'm editing the control points from the curve. Now the curve looks much better, and I just press escape from the keyboard to remove the control point. So now the idea is under the modeling tab with the cylinder submenu, I will define the tool. I will use the tool pipe with round cap. So the first in this case, the first step, I need to select the curve where I want to apply the pipe. So I'm going to define the first diameter. Let's use 2 millimeters. And the second diameter in the end of the curve, I'm going to use a little bit less. Let me use 1.4 millimeters. Let's click enter again, and let's see the results. As you can see, I apply a pipe with round caps. So this is the idea. So for now, everything looks good. Of course, we can adjust all these positions, all these details, but the workflow is this one. Let me now move forward to the next step, and I'm going to start applying my leaf shapes. In this case, my gems. So first, the pave. So I want to apply some gems on this main surface, and to do it, under the gems tab, I'm going to use in this case, the pave automatic. So the idea, I select the surface where I want to apply the pave, in this case, this outside surface, and then I define the gem size. So I'm going to use 5 millimeter gem. It's a big size for a pave, but I will change the gem cut then. So also the distance between gems, I'm going to use 0.2 millimeters. And finally, with the preview icon, I just need to pick a point to start calculating my pave. I have also this option in the command line, go to center, so it will follow the center of the surface for the first gem, and easily I can click enter, and it starts calculating the pave position. Remember, any moment we can pause if we want to adjust. We have some positions that we can manually say, okay, I want in here, probably I want to add another gem. Let's just add another gem in here, another gem in here, and as you can see, they are red because the gems are touching each other. So the idea then will be to refresh, to adjust the position. So as you can see, when I refresh, I easily can adjust the position. One other new feature from version 5, we have available the magnet option. So this option, it's activated by default, and when I move one gem, you can see all the others try to follow the gem I am moving. So this can be really useful to adjust these positions. Of course, in the end, I recommend always to refresh, to recalculate the distance, to recalculate all the parameters I want. And also something that probably in these webinar sessions I haven't talked before, we can lock some objects, some gems. So if I think, okay, this gem, it's this position I want, also this gem, I can easily lock the position from the gems. To do it, I just select the gems, and then I have the lock icon in here. So now if I refresh, you'll see that it will refresh all the others except the locked gem. So I can easily, for instance, lock this one and refresh. So this is the idea. Somehow, sometimes it's easier if we use the manual placement, just to make sure we are following exactly the parameters we want to. And then I will, of course, remove all the other gems under the leaves. Maybe I have space for another one in here, maybe another one in here, another one in here. Let's see if we have space for all these gems. If not, of course, I want to use all with the same gem size. So let me refresh. You can see some positions it's difficult to keep the gems without touching, but I believe we have some space available. Probably in here will be more difficult. Let's refresh again, but looks better now. Looks better. I'm going to select this one and delete with the keyboard. This one's under the leaves. I don't want to apply gems in here. Of course, it's calculated because it's all the surface. This one I will remove also this one. Let's see, this one. I'm using the delete from the keyboard. I can refresh. Let's see the results. I can unlock gems, maybe these ones, and refresh. But it looks good. Looks the pave I'm looking for. And now, after the gems position, I'm going to the prongs tab, and I will turn on the prongs. So as you can see, by default, we have the prongs activated. Let me adjust the diameter. This is big gems. I need big prongs. I'm using, it's a little bit inside of the gem. And I will use 1.4, 8, 1.5. Of course, the outside prongs I need manually to add these prongs, maybe one in here, other in here. Can place more prongs in this area. So this is the idea, to add the prongs I need. So prongs, first prongs between two gems. Of course, I can edit all these prongs after. So maybe another in here, another in here. So this is the idea, to add all the prongs I need. Remember, after this we can also use the prong editor tool to adjust all the prongs position, or the 8 in case we need to edit. Okay, what else? Maybe another one in here, other here, other here. Other here. So now I can add some prongs in the area where I don't have any gems. Okay, also the same in this side. Okay, so this is more or less the result I'm looking for. Looks good, okay, and I'm going now to press enter and to add all these gems and prongs to the document. Now the idea, I want, instead of using Brilliant Gem Cut, I want to use Cabochon Gem Cut. So the Pave Automatic allow me to use Brilliant Gem Cut, but to change it, I will use the tool Copy by Gems. So the Copy by Gems tool allow me to replace one gem for any other object. Before that, I'm just going to apply the cutters. I want to apply the cutters to under the gems. So easily under the jewelry tab, I select with the middle mouse button all the gems in the document, in this case the Pave gems, and I apply the cutters. In this case, I'm going to use the default parameters. As you can see, I don't change any parameter. And then I will also create another gem now, just First, probably it's easier if I make the Boolean, so remove the prongs. So first the object to keep, and then the objects to remove. In this case, I select the cutters. So the idea is remove the cutters from the solid. So now I want to replace these gems for a Kibosh gem cut. What I need to do is first, under the gems tab, I'm going to define a standard gem, a gem to use as reference. So for instance, 2mm gem, and I can place my gem on any position. So let me use this point as reference. Okay, and now I will use the option, I select the gem and I will use the extract gem point tool. So I have the point exactly in the middle of the gem, and then I will use the Kibosh Studio around Kibosh. The reference is this gem, so I will use exactly the same measures, 2mm. I can define the height, everything, and I will use the option to place using the point. So the points I'm going to use is this one. As you can see, automatically I will apply my Kibosh Studio on this point. Let me hide the gem just to show you I can also edit the bottom part, the height, the angle. I can adjust everything easily. Okay, so I create my gem, my Kibosh. As you can see, this will be my reference gem and this will be my object to copy. Okay, so the next step, I select under the transform tab the copy by gems tool, and when I select this tool, first I need to define the origin gem. So the origin gem, it's the one I use it as reference, this one. Then the target gems, I will select all this group of gems and I will use this as target gems. And finally, the objects to copy. So the objects to copy, it's the Kibosh. I click enter, and as you can see, it applied the copy, but following exactly the same measures I create. So I just need to activate the scale on, and automatically it will scale to the target gems. So this is the idea. I apply all the Kibosh exactly as I need to replace from the original gems. And of course, remember also the prongs. I can easily select the prongs and with the edit the prongs position. But now what I'm going to do is to remove all this group of gems, so I can easily hide these gems on this layer. So change object layer. Also, I can do the same for these two, change object layer, and I can save. Of course, I can also easily select all my Kibosh, middle mouse button, and you select by the objects. I will group them in case I need to select. It's easier, and also I can change easily the material for instance this one. Now I would say that from this part it's defined. Of course, probably some prongs we need to adjust the position, and to do it it's just select the prongs, middle mouse button, and we can edit the prongs. So remember, when we edit prongs, we need to select again the reference object, in this case not this one. Let me remove and select correctly this surface, so I can easily adjust the position, all the parameters. Also, I can select all the prongs if I think, okay, I will need probably more thickness, and I can define prongs a little bit more thickness. So this is the idea. Easily we can define exactly as we need. Also, I can change in here the material, for instance 14 karat, and also in here. And now I'm going to to the leaves, and I want to apply a pave also in here. So what I can do to be easier, I can select this. To the left side, I'm going to use a symmetry, so I just need to worry with the right side. So probably first, if I use the Boolean, it will be easier. So I define first this as a single object, and then first one surface, and then other surface to apply the pave. So let me use again, now once again under the Gems tab, the Pave Automatic tool, and I'm going to select the surface where I want to apply the pave. So I select my surface, and now what I'm going to do is define the gem size as always, or a range between 1.5 and 1.2, and I can define easily also the position. So preview, I define, let's start from the center. I can adjust the orientation of the pave to go in this orientation. I press enter, and now it starts calculating the gems position. So it starts with 1.5 gems position, and then when it's not possible, it will try to add smaller gems. As always, we can easily adjust the size, the position, everything. I can, for instance, define in here more gems, for instance 1.2, in here another in here. If I have space in here, probably not too much, but I can reduce maybe this one. So use the minus from the keyboard, the same in here, and I can do the same in here. So minus from keyboard to adjust the size, and I can easily, for instance, if I have space in here, in here to add more gems if I need to adjust, and I believe it's enough, and I just refresh just to make sure it respects all the parameters I defined, and then I just apply my prongs. As you can see now, for these gems is very big prongs. Let me define diameter, probably 0.6 millimeters, 8, again 0.6 millimeters. I believe it's more than enough. So the inside prongs, and then once again with the outside prongs, I just need to add the outside prongs. Remember the position I can adjust any moment, so I don't spend too much time looking for the correct position from the beginning. Probably then after apply the gems, not only with the circles, it's easier to adjust the prongs position. So I just apply the prongs, the outside prongs, like this. Okay. Another one in here, another in here, here. So as always, place the prongs. Okay, and I will need some more here. And maybe another one in here, here as well. So probably the last one in here, and I believe it's fine. So after this, once again, I just click OK to add the gems and the prongs, and I will repeat this process this time to the other side. So pave automatic again, in this case to the other leaf in here. Okay, And I'm going to use once again the same parameters, a range between 1.5, 1.2. I define start from the center, and I will adjust the gem position in here. As you can see in here, I have the contact between the gem and the cabochon. It's important to adjust this before apply the pave, because depend of the adjustment we want to do, but it's recommendable when we apply the gems, everything, to be after after all the steps, all the movements. So I can, for instance, adjust the position a little bit more. I believe now we still need to adjust a little bit in this direction, maybe. So it's important to pay attention to all these details. So just make sure it's the position, it's correctly defined. Okay, so I moved the surface without the gems. Let me undo this last one, so it's not recommendable. Okay, so remember, select the gems and the prongs, and then I can move up again in this direction again, and maybe again in here. So looks better now. Okay, so I'm going to apply now the pave in this surface. Okay, so once again the same parameters, a range between 1.5, 1.2, and I start from the center. I just need to adjust the orientation of the pave, in this case to this position. You can adjust easily. Just drag this point gumball and press enter to start calculating all the gems position. Okay, for instance in here I can pause and I can add manually a gem just to make sure it will add 1.5 in here, and I can start again, recalculate, try to add more, or I can manually adjust the position. Maybe let's see if 1.5 it's good for here, then probably I can use 1.2, 1.2. I'm not sure if this is enough. Then I can reduce the others to make sure it will fit correctly here. Okay, so I just add manually some gems, maybe another in here, and I'm done. I believe it's more than enough. Probably this one I use the minus from the keyboard just to adjust the size, the same in here. And I would say probably this one can be a little bit bigger, and refresh to adjust to respect all the parameters we have defined before. So I just need now to place my prongs. So once again, turn on the prongs, adjust the measure, probably 0.6 again. I will follow the same measures, and I will add manually the outside prongs. So these prongs, I just define the position. So just adding once again the outside prongs. I just click on the position I want to add the prong. Of course, as I told before, and we can in the end adjust the prongs position, the edit after placing all the gems. Okay. I can also edit both at the same time, so I can use then the addition option to the prongs and edit as well this and the others. But this is follow the same workflow. Looks good. Maybe I can add another one in here. And finally, I just click on OK to add these gems and prongs to the document. So now what I'm going to do, I need to create once again the cutters to apply on these gems. So I select all these gems, middle mouse button and select gems, and I will use the Cutter Studio under the Jewelry tab, so Cutter Studio tool, and I will apply the default parameters. Okay, I applied the default parameters to all the gems, to all the cutters. I click OK to add the cutters to the document. These two I can delete now, just using the keyboard. And I'm going to use now the Boolean again to remove the Boolean difference, to remove the cutters from the leaf shape. So modeling tab, Boolean dynamic, I define Boolean difference, and the first object to keep, and the second object I will select the objects to remove. So in here I select cutters, enter, and I preview to remove the cutters. Okay, so when it's trying to make all the booleans, and there is, for instance, one cutter that fails the boolean, RhinoGold will ask you if we want to make it one by one. So this can be really good, really useful, because we have lots of booleans, lots of objects to make the boolean operation, and we are not sure which one or which ones are making the boolean to fail. So it will try to make it one by one, and if any of the cutters is causing the boolean to fail, it will put this object, in this case this cutter, on red, just to let us know this is the object is causing the boolean, and if we want, it will try to make to all the other objects. So I'm calculating, let me just make sure, yes, I didn't click, so I want to make it one by one, yes, and now it's trying to add one by to make the boolean one by one. Okay, let's see the results. At this point, it's calculating all the boolean operation. So as you can see, from all the gems, only this cutter failed with the Boolean operation. So it's also good to take a look of this. Sometimes we have these cases when a Boolean operation fails. So in this case, there are lots of objects. This can be really useful. It will try to add one by one. So I say OK, and then I just have this cutter to remove. So what we recommend is the option shake object. So this option, I need to select the objects I want to shake. So in this case, I will use I will select the cutter. Must be only one from the Boolean. No, it's not good if you select the leaf as well. So only the cutter, and we press enter. So the tolerance in this case is 0.05. So it's a very small distance. We are moving this object randomly just to try to avoid this Boolean problem. And I select now objects to keep, objects to remove, in this case the cutter, and I preview. So I'm going to try, and as you can see easily, I make this Boolean operation. Of course, now the idea would be the same with the prongs to make the Boolean union in this case, and of course to change change the let me change the material, for instance, palladium or even silver polish, and I will select all these objects, and I will create the symmetry with this group of gem and also this group of gems, and I will create the symmetry to make the other side. So under the transform tab, horizontal symmetry to make the other side. So this is the idea. We create our object, our Raspberry pendant. I would say that today we are running a little bit out of time. The process it's a little bit, this model it's requires a few more steps, but at least the workflow, I believe it's very clear. So
I think so, Pedro. I think so.
thank you, Xavi. Thank you.
I'm just missing the rope. I don't know why, but I love
that's true. That's true.
The model with a rope tool.
I can apply it easily for this model. For instance, in the top view, I believe it's easier. I just define a curve. This is good for rendering. For instance, let me use the smart curve, and I will use the vertical symmetry. For instance, something like this. And I can of course edit the position. I need to move up even more. And now, of course, I just apply the rope under the jewelry tab. So rope, I need to select the curve. And in this case, as you can see, the parameters we need to adjust. Number of threads, 3, I believe it's good, but diameter, let me use for each thread 1 millimeter. And the number of turns, maybe 15. Let's see how it looks, much better. So I just apply, okay, and I can change to any other material, just to show a little bit what it's possible to do. Okay, I believe for this model would be just the Boolean union between the prongs and the object. Then to manufacturing, I would say that probably for finishing for the finishing process, I would say that maybe use the leaves as one part and the main body as other part, and then assemble both parts just after printing, after casting, just to be easier for the finishing process. And of course, if in case we need to make mold, but these details, of course, it can change. According to the company or to the person who is doing it, but at least the workflow on how to create this model, it's the important thing in here, and I believe it's clear.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
Always giving tips. That's good. That's good. We are always learning from you.
Thank you very much.
Anyway, thank you, Pedro. I think it was a good project. I like this model.
Yes,
I would love to see the render, but
yes. Also, I would like to say that for this kind of models, I would say that 1 hour maybe is short, and not because of the main process of the main workflow. It's more about the details. I would if with more time, I would define even better all the details, for instance, in the end of the pave, to make it look even better. Also the leaves, everything. Of course, we are running here in in 1 hour webinar. So the idea is also to provide as maximum information possible for the workflow, but I believe this is the most important on these webinar sessions. So that's why I believe if a little bit more time would be even better.
Yeah, but I mean the idea is there, and actually the render is also on our website. We already create the render of this one, so people can see it.
True.
So Pedro, thank you very much again for your hard work.
You're welcome. Okay, let me go
Let me
back.
try to sell RhinoGold, Pedro. Let me try to sell it.
Go ahead.
Please.
Go
Anyway,
ahead.
guys, of course, if you have liked what you have seen, it's time to start using RhinoGold professionally. So these are the prices. If you are a new user, the RhinoGold price is $29.90 US dollars or euros, depending on your location. If you already have Rhinoceros 5, you only need to purchase RhinoGold at $19.95. And if you are a previous RhinoGold user, it's even cheaper. It's just $8.95. Of course, you can contact our dealers on rhinogold.com/dealers and just select your location and you will find the closest one. We have over 75 resellers worldwide, so I'm pretty sure you will find at least one nearby. And just in the case that there is none, you can always make the purchase through our online store on rhinogold.com/buy, or just contact me at info@tvmsolutions.com, and I will be so happy to help you with that. Let's see what's next week, Pedro. Let me.
Good idea. So next week webinar.
Next April 21st, the trilogy. That's a nice one. What do you think, guys? Should we change it, or you are going to register for this one? I think it's kind of classic, and it's.
Yes, I believe it will be a good model also to show some of the new tools in RhinoGold 5, and I believe it's a good exercise to demonstrate how to use RhinoGold.
Let's hope so. Of course, you can register on rhinogold.com/webinars, and that's pretty much everything for today. We thank you, all of you, for registering, for spending 1 hour of your lives with us. Hope you have learned RhinoGold, and hope to see you next week. Thank you again. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you, Xavi, and thank you everyone once again for attending, and it's always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. Now it's time to watch a little bit of football.
Good idea. Let's see.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Muted.